We hope you enjoyed this episode. Unfortunately, they made some mistakes.
You complimented my shirt, and I thank you for it.
I really like it. I like the collar on it.
I need to order more colors of this.
What brand is it?
We did this last time, and I've already forgotten.
Okay, it's...
Kmart?
Nope. Weiss and Made?
Yeah.
Weiss and Made. Let's look it up.
Yeah, order me a bunch while you're there.
Weiss Made. Wiesmade. This looks very all-American.
Classic? Textbook?
Not in a, they're affordable.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy. Well, I can't say that. I lost the right to say that. I do have 3 crazy pieces of clothing.
But you also have been giving gifts.
That's right.
Crazy.
I have some nice sweaters from my friend Monica that are very pricey.
And from your friend Brad Pitt.
Well, that's what I was saying. I have a few items of God's True, which is,
So I didn't know if saying this would make people mad.
Yeah.
But I feel obligated to say.
Yes, we should thank publicly.
Yes. Brad sent.
Our boyfriend.
Our boyfriend Brad sent us some goodies from God's True Cashmere. He sent you a gorgeous button down, green.
Which I've already worn in an interview.
It's beautiful. It really is so nice. He gave Kristen a top and pants.
And Kristen got more than you and I.
Yeah, we don't like that. I don't want to talk about that.
It's okay. It's okay.
For you.
Okay.
Please don't speak for me. But I got the blanket.
Yes.
And it is incredible.
Have you been using it?
Yeah, it's
You
draped.
don't put it on top of you when you're watching your perverted show,
I don't want to talk
do you?
about it.
Oh, no. You got to keep that very far away from your extracurricular activity.
Why?
Because it's
I would think you would want me to be using that.
I like you using it as chore play, but then getting it out of the whole area when it's time.
Why? Because
you want to preserve its
integrity.
Freshness,
I think he would like it.
He would love it. Yes, if he found out you were incorporating it, he would love it.
Exactly.
In fact, let me do that, and then I'll send him a text.
Okay,
saying
so things are really turned.
Yeah, Monica's been enjoying sexually the blanket that you gave her.
It's such a beautiful blanket, and it was such a kind gesture. It really was so sweet that he sent us those things.
God, now do I tell? Now we've opened up a can of worms.
Okay,
because I was watching on Father's Day Godfather,
right,
and Marlon Brando has this very, very long scene. People will remember. It's when he dies. He's in this cute.
Spoiler.
No, it's okay. It's a 50-year-old movie.
Okay.
He's in this garden in his backyard playing with his grandson, and then he dies. But he's wearing this incredible, looks like cashmere button down.
Oh.
But it's so, it's set in the 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
And so it's time specific, but it's got the most beautiful, hints of, I guess it'd be plaid, but very subtle. It's such a gorgeous shirt. It's so distracting that I said to the boys I was watching, I'm like, look at this shirt. This shirt's incredible. So then I took no. But that's interesting because that's also a scene. I took a screen grab.
That did not look good.
Here, I'll send it to Rob.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so this is a gorgeous shirt. I'm so into the hintiness of the lines. It's like the silhouette of lines.
Okay, yeah. It's a green. It's kind of greenish, but
with yellow, checkered.
Plaid.
It's incredible. And I was obsessed with this shirt, just imagining being in the shirt. And what did I do? I took a picture of it. I sent it to Brad.
Yeah.
And I said, was this motherfucker pushing God's True 70 years ahead of schedule?
Yeah.
Secondly, you can manufacture. Can you make us this shirt?
Wow.
He immediately wrote back and said, oh, yeah, he's the original OG. And yes, I'm on it.
What the fuck?
So I might be getting a matching shirt that maybe only Brad and I
have. This is great. No.
That was made famous by Marlon Brando.
Can't.
This is a hat on a hat on a hat on cherry on icing on cherry.
This is way too much.
If I can be using him, I'm now kind of
don't use people.
Well, I'm contradicting what I said about if I knew the president, I wouldn't call to complain about prescription prices.
Yes.
I am abusing my access to him by asking him to make me a shirt I liked from a movie. Wow. But he seemed to like it as well, so we'll TBD.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was so nice of him. And the price point is a little different than this tee you're wearing.
Yes, dramatically so.
Speaking of what, you just said something and it reminded me of something.
Okay.
You said we.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes if you do somebody else's podcast or you get interviewed, they'll ask you, what is your favorite episode or what have you learned from the show? And I always forget this, but I need to remember to say it because this is the thing that I think has stuck with me most out of 900 plus episodes. We had an expert on. I don't remember on what, but basically he was like, you can tell if people are using you or I or we in the way they talk.
Yeah.
And I have never, I am so attuned.
I am too.
To when people are doing it.
Yeah, that affected me as well.
Yeah.
Where I notice it all the time. And in fact, we were watching Rocky with the kids. And Rocky comes home and he finally admits to Adrian, and they're newly dating. I can't fight him. He's gonna beat me. I can't do it. You know, and this is gonna happen and that, and he wants to quit. And she goes, "Oh, it's okay. What are we gonna do about it?"
Yeah.
And they're brand new dating. And I paused and I said, "You hear that, girl?" She said, "What are we gonna do about it? What could be more loving than this is our problem?"
It's so sweet.
Yeah. I remember this too, though.
Yeah.
And how you can include people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How you can include and exclude people. Like there's a lot said in the way you identify we, I, you.
Yeah. And I make effort. Do you make an effort?
I do make an effort. But I'm also like, I'm really sensitive.
Yeah. So I think I do a good job about always saying our show and we blank. But when I'll say it on accident, I'll say I interviewed.
Yeah, you do say that.
Yeah, and then I hear myself saying that, and then I'm like, "Oh, that's hurtful," and I don't mean it. But also, I can, in some way, I conduct the interview. I don't mean we're not doing it. I just mean like I don't know. I have the research.
To me, saying "and I asked" is one thing, or like I said, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it does like jolt me out when you say I interviewed.
Yeah, and I know it immediately.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then I go, "Oh, that's weird," because I'm really good at saying our show and we did this and we have 900 episodes and we blank blank blank. We had so and so. I'll always say we had. I'll never say I had so and so.
Right.
I'll always say we had so and so on. But then I do often say it was interviewing so and so.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that I like have I've taken a lot of things obviously from the shows, but that one has really stuck. And I hear it all the time in the world around me, the way people talk about themselves or their partners or their friends.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
There's all kinds of opportunities for you to do it right or wrong. Like I'll often say my daughters.
Yeah.
And I probably should say our daughters all the time.
Well, no, it depends on if she's there, yeah.
Yeah.
Our daughter.
Yeah.
But if you are not with Kristen, I think my daughter's is fine.
Yeah, but I still think I should always just say our. And I'll say to people sometimes, "Why don't you come to my house at 8?" And then even that I'll go like, I should have said our.
Interesting. We, I, you. These are important pronouns.
Ripe for triggers.
Ripe for triggers, right for opportunity.
Speaking of we, I had a very fun morning date yesterday.
Ooh, what?
My friend Ethan Suplee, who, he's one of my
love him.
Handful of people I would describe as magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a category in my life of people I've met that I think are magic.
I'm
and
jealous.
He's really, really up there. But he was in town and he famously has lost 300 pounds.
Wow.
Through diet and exercise.
Wow.
His Instagram is so fun to follow because he's really embedded now in that space. It was really interesting because I was like, "Are you taking GLP-1s?"
Right.
He's like, "No." And I'm like, "Why? Like, what's the reservation?" And he's kind of like circling this thing and he's not really articulating it, but all of a sudden it just emotionally, it occurs to me. I go, "Hold on. Is it like if they created a pill or a shot that would allow you to drink?" Is it like that? Because like if they invented a pill that allowed you to drink 3 drinks, I wouldn't take it. And I'm sure a lot of people would be like, well, why? There's a pill or a shot that makes you not an addict.
Right.
But I have so much baggage in history and trauma with this struggle.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know if I could ever trust it, even if I was watching it work for everybody.
Right.
The stakes are just so high.
Yeah.
Plus, like all the benefits I got out of it through not having a shot available, that I had to work these steps and learn all these tools. And he's like, that's it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. That's so complex.
Very complex. And I'm sure he takes a ton of pride.
Absolutely. As he should.
Yeah. In on his journey to be a healthier person.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when you've done that and you take pride in it, that feels like a weird shortcut.
Yeah.
That doesn't give you the feeling.
Right. And the identity and all the other stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, so him and then Jonathan Tucker, friend of the pod.
Oh my God. Jonathan Tucker, that is a deep cut. We had him so long ago. I think COVID.
He was in his
car.
Red Cadillac, red interior, his 80s Cadillac.
Yeah.
Most colorful, interesting, energetic boy.
Oh, gosh.
So the 3 of us, I guess they had done a movie. They'd had done a Nick Cassavetes movie back in the day. And so they remained friends. And, and then something really kind of sweet was Ethan was, I don't know if it's sweet. I don't know what it is. Now Ethan had his own batch of friends. He grew up in LA. His childhood friends have become the most successful actors of all time.
Yep.
So maybe that's part of the story. But he did say, do you know of all the movies? And Ethan's been doing movies for 30 years and big ones. He's like, yeah, you 2 are the only 2 guys I've ever maintained a friendship that I made on a movie after the fact.
Wow.
Yes. And I guess I felt grateful and flattered.
Yeah.
And then also like, oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Because I've kept in touch with a lot of the folks.
Right.
But we had a pump.
That's interesting.
We debated politics.
Oh, okay.
We lifted.
Nice.
Yes, it was fascinating.
I think that actually him growing up here and being around
the most famous kid in the world.
Exactly. The most famous kid in the world and famous people. I bet there's zero sense of enamoration with anyone. So he's just like, if I like you.
Certainly, but I've never maintained any of those friendships because I was blown away with their celebrity. Like even in fact, like on Without a Paddle, Ethan and I became great friends. He wasn't the star of Without a Paddle. He was like maybe 7th on the call sheet or something.
Right.
So,
well, I don't think you're only being friends with those people because of that. But you are attracted. You can be, or you were maybe more so at
certain
some point.
People.
Yeah, certain people.
Yeah.
You're attracted to because of their.
Yeah, and I could name them. It's like the people that I worked with where it was like I couldn't believe I was working with them is like Burt Reynolds out of the gates. Tina and Amy when I did Baby Mama. I was like, wow, I can't believe I get to work with Tina and Amy.
So cool.
Yeah. Now, mind you, there were Academy Award winners in Baby Mama, but like Greg Kinnear was in Baby Mama. I think he won for As Good as It Gets.
He did. Great movie.
So I wasn't like necessarily attracted to the acclaim or I want to work with an Oscar winner, but people who I deeply admired from a distance when I got to work with them, I was pretty blown away. Or when I got to do The Judge, I was like couldn't believe I'm in a scene with Robert Downey after all this time.
Yeah, really cool.
By the way, I need to tie up one loose end on Godfather.
Okay.
We're midway through the movie, and all of a sudden I realize I'm like, well, of course, no women like this movie. There's no women in this movie.
Exactly.
I mean, there's Diane Keaton's in it once in a while. The sister's there getting beat up to justify Sonny beating up the husband. But it's like, oh, yeah, this is a movie about all guys.
Yeah.
No wonder girls aren't like clamoring to see Godfather.
Exactly. Although, I guess there's an exception. But like Ocean's 11 is a lot of men. But Julia Roberts is in it, and she's so good in it. Oh, I love that movie.
And we went to Mission Impossible last night as a family. The kids had never seen a Mission Impossible movie.
Okay, how did that go?
Well, it was good. I loved it. It's not the right starter Mission Impossible because it's like Reckoning. It might be the last one. I don't know.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the last one.
I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I hope it's not the last one. But this one was definitely a darker version. Lincoln loved it. Delta was like, that was the longest, worst movie experience of my life.
Okay.
Lincoln now loves it. And now I was in a catch-22. I'm like, well, my impulse now is like, Lincoln, there's 8 of these. Like, summer's here. This is what we're doing. We're going to watch the fucking Mission Impossibles this summer.
Oh, this is tricky.
And then Delta was like, and then I go, oh, but actually that's a terrible game plan for you, Delta. You hated it. And she goes, well, I'm open to giving it another try if I'm at home and I can leave. And I'm like, okay. So we're going to give some of the more uplifting, funner versions of it. Okay. One thing I wanted to share.
Okay.
Is indulgent. I have long heard the word rapture.
Okay.
I've always heard rapture. It's almost always been in reference to Jesus. Like the rapture of Jesus is love. Okay. I never hear rapture outside of that.
You never hear enraptured?
I guess rarely. I think every time I hear it, it's like the rapture of his love or something. Anywho, it weirdly happened 2 times in one night. So maybe it was just me. It probably was just me. But we were laying on the couch watching TV, and Lincoln loves to get in and extract whatever's left in my ear-piercing hole from 35 years ago.
Sure.
She likes to get in there and root around and try to get the little ball out.
Yep.
And I love that so much when she's digging in my ear. And then I just happen to say, I love when you dig in my ear.
Mm-hmm.
So then long after the extraction was done, she was playing with my ear while we watched Friday Night Lights.
Mm-hmm.
And I was laying on the couch, and this little girl was playing with my ear. And I was like just radiating warmth. I felt so at peace and so happy.
Yeah.
And then that same night, I'm tucking Delta in, just her and I in bed. And we're talking about how I drive them crazy because I pet them and they hate it. So I'm not allowed to pet anyone. If I put my hand on their leg, I can't like rub their leg. I just got to keep it still.
Okay.
And I always forget. The thing I do, it's a bad habit, is when I'm holding their hand, I circle their thumb with my finger. So I'm doing that. And then I say to her, sorry, I do that. I go, I think it's genetic. I go, my Papa Bob used to do it to me. And my dad used to do it to me. And I kind of loved it once I realized they both did it. And then I found myself that I just do it genetically. It's like a tick I do. And then I just said that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're laying in bed in a way that she's snuggling me in my nook. And I'm holding both of her hands.
Yeah.
And she starts rubbing her thumb around my thumb because she knows that I like it from my dad.
Yeah.
And we were laying there and she was doing that. And I just started just kind of weeping. Like I was just kind of leaking tears. And I could feel her whole body as if it was just like in mine. And then she was this act of generosity and caring about me.
So kind.
And I really was thinking like, oh, this is rapture. And it's funny, we're so like obsessed with, did we get enough love from our parents or did they do it right?
Mm-hmm.
But the feeling of your child loving you is rapture. It's like it's so filling. There's something about it that's just really special.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it was really one of the most wonderful moments I've had.
I'm
Planet
for
Earth.
you.
This little sweet girl who's thinking about wants to express to her dad that she loves him. Oh, it's like, it's a 10-ton mega bomb.
Well, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, it was very sweet.
Good. Well, I don't think we're going to top that, so we should do some facts.
Oh, okay.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Okay, facts for Suleika.
Oh, yes.
What a fun conversation.
Yes.
Now, we're about to get into it, me and you. A little bit. Not really. I don't want to. I don't want to fight. I'm not in the mood to fight.
Okay, so this is a very mixed signal. So you go, we're about to get into it. I don't want to fight.
Well, I don't. I don't want to fight. So I want us to be nice to each other.
Okay.
Okay? Because at the beginning of the episode, we have a mini argument about Taylor Swift and the masters and stuff. Okay?
Yeah.
And we say we're gonna discuss this on the fact check.
Yeah.
I asked Nathan Hubbard for some help. Nathan is a big music guy. He's the CEO of Firebird Music. He was the CEO of Ticketmaster. He's very, very deeply entrenched in the music world. And
Sure.
he has a podcast that I love on the Ringer Network. Great network. Bill Simmons. He has a podcast called Every Single Album he does with Nora Princiati. And they go into deep, deep, deep stuff about Taylor. So I asked him, I'm going to read it. I said, "Hi, I have a question for you, and no worries if you don't have time to answer it. Dax and I are in a debate over what happened with Taylor's music, and so there will be an upcoming fact check where we discuss it. Dax feels like the zeitgeist narrative about Scooter and her isn't exactly accurate. I need the facts. Any chance you can give me an objective rundown of what happened?"
First of all, I applaud how neutral that question was.
Thank you. I am here to learn.
Okay, great.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
He said, Scott Borchetta, who heads Big Machine, Taylor's original label, started shopping the entire Big Machine catalog around 2014. Lots of people got a look at it, including weird places like Twitter and Facebook. Taylor's camp knew about this, but the terms at which Scott was willing to give Taylor back her masters were erroneous. They required she extend her deal with Big Machine, and the payback felt arduous.
Yep.
Taylor still feels that before actually selling the catalog, that Scott had an obligation to bring the deal to her, in which case she might have chosen to seek financing to buy the catalog. Instead, it was sold to Scooter.
Yeah.
Taylor had a lot of issues with Scooter that had already
But really quick, so the points I've made, this is all very consistent with what I was saying, which is she was offered a deal. It had an extension. She didn't want to do that.
Well, she's saying she didn't have the opportunity to even get financing to do it, that it was then sold to Scooter.
But hold on, hold on. This is good faith and we're keeping it good. It's important. She did have access to it, but it included an extension with her deal.
Yeah, it included things that they felt were crazy.
That's right.
Yep.
So I just wanted to be clear, because this is one of my main points, is that it was brought to her. She didn't like the terms.
Right, because
because the common narratives is like all this happened, she had no idea, and she didn't have a chance. And that's part of my issue is right there is she was offered it and she didn't like the deal.
She didn't like the deal, which as people who have been involved in business deals, sometimes they are crazy.
That's fine. That is, I don't mind that she didn't like the deal or that it was a bad deal. I just want it to be crystal clear. The guy was shopping the entire catalog of the label. She was offered this. It would have involved an extension of her services. She didn't want to do it. Okay, now it goes. Go ahead.
Instead, it was sold to Scooter. Taylor had a lot of issues with Scooter that had been aired that were clearly exacerbated by his company making the acquisition out from under her. The press around Scooter owning the catalog became painful right at a time when a lot of money began pouring into acquire music catalogs. Spotify and Apple made it possible to model out the cash flows for music. Shamrock came in and made that acquisition and immediately reached out to try to involve Taylor. Deals get done based on people and relationships as much as price. They stayed persistent, and as exemplified by her note today, Taylor's note, clearly earned her trust. For them, they get a stamp of approval as they look to invest billions in these assets. Taylor Swift just called them hugely trustworthy. That matters in these transactions. I think there is some debate around whether she was realistic in her negotiation with Big Machine the first go-around, and whether she just couldn't cobble together the funding to make it happen, or thought nobody would buy it without her approval. But there's no debate that she felt betrayed, that she felt she'd been attacked previously by Scooter, and that she became hell-bent for a decade on righting the perceived wrong.
Great. Yeah, so that we're not going to fight because I feel like that's exactly what I was saying about this story.
Yeah.
And again, I don't like Scooter Braun.
Well, that's irrelevant.
No, it's super relevant because the reason it didn't go well is she had previous issues with Scooter Braun. Like she already didn't like Scooter Braun.
Yeah.
But like you take Scooter Braun out of it. They brought her the catalog. She didn't like the deal terms. She passed on it. Another buyer came in, Mike Herbowitz. He bought the catalog. Yeah. And now she wants the catalog back and she wants to buy it off Mike Herbowitz.
That's a very non-emotional way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And these things that are your IP and your creations and your heart and your soul, emotions are real. They're a real factor.
I just think if you remove Scooter Braun, which is a perfect antagonist in this story, he's so unlikable. If you remove him from this story, I don't think people would feel the same way. If it's a different human being that saw an opportunity and bought the catalog, I don't think it's this crazy story of her being a victim.
You don't know what's gone on between her and Scooter. There's all kinds of stuff beforehand. That's what was already aired, and part of why this was so bad for her is that it was sold to someone that she had already had all kinds of issues with, who's had issues with a billion other artists. They've all left his label, so clearly he is doing something to them that's making that happen. You can't say just because someone is rich, they're not a victim. We don't know what happened.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I would say the first deal, she wasn't a victim. It was a standard deal.
Okay.
And then I'd say the second go around where she attempted to buy her master's, which very few people have done, and there's no well-worn path to that. She didn't like the terms and she chose not to buy it. So I don't think she's a victim there. Like, no one forced her to do anything. And then the worst person imaginable ended up paying the price. And that was infuriating to her emotionally and to all the fans and to you. Everyone's furious about who ended up with the rights to it. I don't think that's a healthy narrative to say this endlessly successful, accomplished everything on her own, self-made billionaire. Unfortunately, I don't think in the music space she's been a victim. She's not one of these people. Part of the
self-made billionaire is because she has been so dead set on this and re-recording the music. And she even said the Eras Tour paid for this. It paid for her to be able to do this. That was explicitly stated at the beginning of the tour. Like, this is the point.
She wanted to own her masters, which is a rare thing.
She wanted the rights to her music instead of her enemy having the rights to her music.
Yes, and when she had an opportunity
totally fine.
to buy she didn't.
Yeah.
Because she didn't like the deal. That's
great. She also didn't have the opportunity. She didn't have the money at that time.
And that's fine. No artists do.
Right.
Like, there's nothing unique happening to her. She wanted to own all her music, which is just really rare.
Well, whatever. Who cares? She wanted it, and she did.
And she couldn't afford it at the time.
Yeah.
And Scooter could, so he got it because the company was just selling this catalog, which happens. And she just wasn't singled out or bullied or victimized.
No one's saying she's bullied. Well, I don't know.
I think everyone thinks.
Well, I don't know what happened between her and Scooter before. So I don't know.
I don't either.
And I have a sense it's probably something really shitty.
I'm being very clear. I don't think Scooter's a great guy. I don't like Scooter Braun.
I think if someone who we hate is holding the rights to it's not like it's you. They're holding the rights to you. I think it makes...
Well, let's just be clear. He's holding the rights to these recordings.
But Dax, you're making that's so like weird black and white. That's not creative person.
He has no say over what she performs, what she writes, what she does. Like he has zero control over her.
Yeah,
by owning these masters.
I'm saying her work is her. It's her words. It's her experiences. It's her.
Yeah.
If someone is holding the rights to that who you hate, it makes tons of sense to me to do everything in your power to take that from them. And that's what she did. That's what the re-recordings were all about.
Do you think I'm not supportive of her getting her masters back?
I don't know.
I am.
You haven't said that once.
I am. I'm delighted she owns her masters. But she owns her masters because she's a shrewd badass, not because she's a victim.
That's fine. You're so hung up on that.
But I am. I think it's a very terrible narrative for people to have. Yeah, I think it's all a great triumphant story. Here's this woman who created all this music, and by George, she ended up owning all of it on top of it, in the same way that the Beatles did, which was also radical.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's awesome.
But it does avoid the bigger thing that we were actually debating. That was one symptom of the larger debate of just when people are beyond criticism, when that's not allowed, I think that's a very dangerous scenario. I think AA should be totally open to criticism, and I think there's valid criticisms of AA. Like I don't think anyone should be above criticism.
I guess. I'm like, I don't know. I listen to all these pop culture podcasts. I listen to all these things, and there's a part that I'm like, why? Why does everyone need to have a criticism of someone? Why does everyone need to have an opinion of other people? I'm kind of bored of it. It's like just, I don't know. I don't know. Especially, ironically, knowing people, you and Kristen, who are in the public eye, who people have criticisms of, who people, why? It's so unnecessary.
If Kristen and I made a public enemy out of somebody and we had 50 million fans who are actively angry at a human being, it has to be a 1-to-1 comp. So Kristen and I have some public enemy that we're talking about all the time is the bad guy in our story.
Well, her fans are.
I'm sorry?
Her fans are. Not her.
She
has music about it, but she doesn't talk about him. They talk about him, and they've made it, the fans, the Swifties, have made it also their identity to take this on for her. She sings, there are songs about him. I mean, they're not his name, but there are clear songs about him. But she's not out there on talk shows talking about him.
I think if one individual mobilizes 50 million people to hate one individual, I think we need some fair criticism there. I think that's a dangerous situation. And it is, I do think it's important for people to go, well, hold on. What do you think really happened? How evil is this person? Are they plotting against her? Like, we need to pressure test this ire. And I think, yes, I think definitely when one human being has mobilized 50 million people to hate one person, that definitely is a time where some scrutinizing is in order. And if 50 million people hate Jake Gyllenhaal, who doesn't deserve it?
Well, they don't. They don't all hate it. That's the other thing. I think you've made it such a big deal. Like, everyone hates. Obviously, everyone doesn't hate Jake Gyllenhaal. He has a incredible career. He's doing well.
Well, no, I'm saying Swifties.
Well, you can't be doing his level of career and have 50 million people hate you. You wouldn't be casting anything. You would if
no,
all
you
the
could.
Swifties.
You still have 300 million people to entertain.
That's not no. I not everyone who likes Taylor Swift hates all the boyfriends. In fact, most people don't. They find it very entertaining. They find this all like fun and reading between the lines and who she's writing about and X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But are they like, that person needs to die, or we can't support that person, or I'm not going to their movies? Maybe a chunk. I personally don't know anyone who's like, I'm never going to go support a Jake Gyllenhaal movie because of her.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. Again, I'm sure there are extreme people, but that's not the norm. So I also think that's unfair to make like maybe some radical extreme Swifties the face of all the Swifties. I mean, I love Jake and I love her.
Yeah.
So why can't I be the example of that?
I think many of her fans have deified her, and I think it's very dangerous to make a deity out of a human being. Yeah. That's what I think. And I think when someone has become a deity in public, whether they're a cult leader or anytime there is a deity in public, that is the time for a lot of scrutiny. I think that is what the Fourth Estate does. I think that's what people's obligation is. And I think it's what a social primate does when one deity has arisen. I think it's really important for people to go, well, hold on a second. And I think the fact that that's not even permitted is scary. And I think anytime that's not permitted, it's scary.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's fine. Anyway, okay. Well, thank you, Nathan Hubbard, for weighing in. That was very helpful.
That was a great answer.
Okay. How old is Lolita in the book? Lolita is 12.
Oh.
At the beginning of the novel. She's 17 when she, spoiler, dies. Dies in childbirth.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Oh.
I've never read it.
I read the first third. It was when I got scared that I could never enjoy a novel again. I was like a third of the way through it, and I was like, oh, this didn't happen. This is someone's weird imagination about falling in love with a 12-year-old. I think I'm out.
I mean, it says the novel details a protagonist, Humbert.
Red flag number 1.
Yeah. Obsession with and sexual abuse of the 12-year-old. Okay. Well, Russian, you know.
Nabokov is Russian? I thought he was...
Vladimir Nabokov. I maybe he's not, but that's...
I thought maybe he's Czech or something.
Oh, maybe.
Will you look up what he is?
He's Russian.
He's Russian.
Yeah, St. Petersburg, Russia.
Oh.
It would kind of be like Raj Patel not being Indian.
Yeah.
We can make some assumptions.
Vladimir is a pretty good clue.
Yeah. Okay. Now, well, we talk about loneliness and You know Vivek Murthy?
Yes.
He taught us about loneliness.
Yeah. That's more dangerous than smoking.
Yeah, and it's so sin because he was in my dream last night.
Vivek?
Yeah. Vivek Murthy.
Oh, wow.
And then I was listening to this episode this morning and loneliness. Yeah. He had fixed my friend's car. He had taken off a piece and made it a Honda or something. He was like a car guy, and I thought I went to prom with him, but I didn't.
This is a weird dream. Vivek Murthy as a peer who's a mechanic.
Yeah. But it was still him, but he had he was able to do this car stuff too.
And be your age?
Yeah, I went to prom with him, and then it didn't look like him.
Okay.
It didn't look like the real Vivek Murthy, but that was the name that was being used.
What do you think spurred this dream?
I think the magnesium's making my dreams crazy.
Okay.
They've been wild lately.
Oh, wow.
Speaking, Dakota Johnson.
She's in the dreams now?
No, but on Amy Poehler's podcast, she tells a story about a dream, which you're not really ever supposed to do that.
You shouldn't do that. That's a PSA to everyone.
Even though
don't
I did just
ever
do it.
tell anyone about your dreams.
Right, but I did just do it. And then she did it on that show, and that has gone viral.
Oh, it has?
Oh, ding, 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 because it's about Matty Healy. He has some history with Taylor. Anyway, she had a dream about him, and he kept turning into asparagus.
Oh, and that went viral. Well, you never know what's going to go viral, do you?
You don't. Why does a hospital gown open in the back? Hospital gowns open in the back primarily to facilitate medical procedures and patient care. This design allows easy access to the patient's body for examinations, treatments, and monitoring without requiring them to fully undress, which is particularly helpful for those who are bedridden or have limited mobility. The open back also simplifies gown changes, especially when a patient is soiled or requires frequent changes.
Soiled.
So it's more for an extreme,
soiling?
Yeah, extreme situation. Oh, bedpans.
Oh, now bedpans make sense.
Yeah.
But the rest of it doesn't, because I feel like they're looking at the front of you way more than they're looking at the back of you. So if easy access is the point, they're definitely up front way more than they are in back. They'll listen to your lungs in back, but in general, they're tapping all over your abdomen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not where the bulk of the business is done. So it makes more sense to open up the front. But the bedpan totally explains it, I think.
I think it's more for people with not a lot of mobility.
Sure. Still, though, if they want to get at the front, it's hard to get at the front with the back opening gown. You have to take the whole thing off.
Right. I don't know.
So I think they've prioritized bedpan, which is the right decision.
Yeah. Okay. She talked about commencement speeches. So
no.
I think I might need to revisit.
No. We already did. If the front half wasn't Taylor, then
Let
yes.
me just say, welcome to New York. It's been waiting for you.
Okay, that's her opening line.
Yep.
Okay.
Because it was for NYU.
Because it was what?
I think it was at NYU.
Oh, okay.
And that's a lyric.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You want me to keep going?
In the speech?
Yeah.
Only if you need to.
Fine, I won't. All right. Well, why don't people in the comments go ahead and write their favorite commencement speech line?
Great.
And then we can read some of those.
Yeah. I'll know not to look at the comments of this episode because I dared push back.
Sure.
I'll know better.
All right. Well, that's it.
Okay. I love you.
Love you.